The football world has been left absolutely stunned tonight. The secret behind Spain's miraculous World Cup triumph has finally been exposed, and it's nothing like anyone expected. While the world watched Lamine Yamal's brilliance and Rodri's midfield mastery, a hidden ritual was taking place right under everyone's noses. A secret so bizarre, so unbelievable, that it has sent shockwaves through the entire sporting world. Marc Cucurella, the unsung hero of Spain's victorious campaign, has been revealed as the master of a mysterious pre-match ritual that dates back 16 years. As cameras captured him walking quietly toward the touchline moments before the biggest game of his life, nobody knew what he was doing. He removed a small object from his sock. He buried it beneath the turf. He carefully covered it with grass. And then he walked back to his teammates as if nothing had happened. The mystery has finally been solved, and what has been uncovered is nothing short of extraordinary. This isn't just a story about a lucky coin. This is a story about tradition, about the passing of a superstition from one generation to the next, and about the hidden magic that carried Spain to their second World Cup title. This is the story of how Marc Cucurella's secret ritual became the difference between glory and heartbreak. And it will change the way you see the beautiful game forever. The MetLife Stadium in New Jersey was buzzing with tension. 82,000 fans packed into the stands. Hundreds of millions watching from home. The biggest stage in sports. Spain versus Argentina. The European champions against the defending world champions. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. But as the players lined up for the anthems, something unusual was happening on the touchline. Television cameras captured Marc Cucurella, the Spanish left back, walking quietly away from his teammates. He looked around nervously, making sure nobody was watching. Then he reached into his sock and removed a small, shiny object. He knelt down, dug a small hole in the turf, and buried the object beneath the grass. He covered it carefully, patted it down, and walked back to his position as if nothing had happened. At the time, fans were confused. Social media was flooded with questions. What was Cucurella doing? Was it some kind of protest? Was he hiding something? The speculation was wild, but nobody knew the truth. The match was a brutal war. Argentina's aggressive tactics left Spain battered, but unbroken. Extra time was needed. In the 106th minute, Ferran Torres scored the winning goal. Spain were world champions. The celebrations were wild, the confetti fell, and the trophy was lifted. But the mystery of Cucurella's pre-match ritual remained unsolved. Then the bombshell dropped. Joan Capdevila, the legendary left-back who won the World Cup with Spain in 2010, took to social media with a revelation that stunned the football world. He posted footage of Cucurella burying the coin and wrote, "And now, I'll tell you a secret. In 2010, I buried a coin in the grass before starting the match. I've told it millions of times. I asked Cucurella 3 to do the same yesterday. Marc, I love you so much. You are a world champion." The football world erupted. A 16-year-old superstition had been passed down from one generation in the summer of 2010. South Africa, the World Cup final. Spain versus the Netherlands. It was the biggest moment in Spanish football history. A nation that had always been considered underachievers was finally on the verge of glory. Joan Capdevila was Spain's starting left back. He was a veteran, a leader, and a man who believed in the power of superstition. Before the final, he had a ritual. He took a coin, buried it in the turf, and made a silent wish. Spain won 1-0. Andres Iniesta scored the winning goal, and the nation erupted in celebration. Capdevila kept the secret for 16 years. He told the story millions of times, but the world never knew the full details. He had buried a coin, and he believed that coin brought him luck. Fast forward to 2026. Spain are in the World Cup final again. Capdevila, now a retired legend, is watching from the stands. He knows that Cucurella, the man who now wears his shirt, is carrying the hopes of the nation. And he knows that the superstition needs to be passed on. Capdevila reached out to Cucurella before the final. He told him the story. He asked him to do the same. And Cucurella, a player who believes in the power of tradition, agreed without hesitation. The ritual was performed. The coin was buried, and Spain won the World Cup. A 16-year-old tradition had been revived. The magic had worked again. Capdevila's tweet went viral. The football world was captivated by the story. A simple act of superstition, passed down from one generation to the next, had become the defining moment of Spain's World Cup victory. It was a testament to the power of tradition, belief, and the unbreakable bond between players who share the same dream. While the world was captivated by Cucurella's secret ritual, something else was happening on the pitch. Something that would go down in football history. Spain's defense was impenetrable. They had conceded just one goal in their 8 matches at the 2026 World Cup, the fewest by any side in a World Cup-winning campaign. This wasn't luck. This was tactical brilliance, collective sacrifice, and an unbreakable team spirit. Cucurella was at the heart of it. He didn't miss a single minute of the entire tournament. He played every game, every minute, and never put a foot wrong. But it wasn't just Cucurella. The entire Spanish defense was a fortress. Aymeric Laporte and Pau Cubarsi were rock solid at center back. Pedro Porro was relentless on the right. In the midfield, led by Rodri and Pedri, provided a protective shield that made it almost impossible for opponents to break through. Cucurella spoke about the defensive record after the final. When you don't concede, I think it's much easier to win, he said. We've done an incredible job in that regard all tournament. And not just the defenders and the goalkeeper, because I think it's a team effort. Ultimately, it's about everyone making sacrifices. We attack together and defend together. That's one of the keys to this team. The numbers were staggering. Belgium were the only team to score against Spain, and that was in the quarterfinals. Argentina, with Lionel Messi leading the line, were kept at bay for 120 minutes. Spain had achieved something historic. And Cucurella's secret ritual had become part of the legend that behind the celebrations, the confetti, and the glory, Marc Cucurella was carrying a weight that few people knew about. A weight that made his World Cup triumph. Even son, Mateo, was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder when he was just 3 years old. The diagnosis devastated the family. They faced months of uncertainty, heartbreak, and fear. They struggled to find the right schools, the right doctors, and the right support system. Cucurella's girlfriend, Claudia Rodriguez, opened up about the experience in an emotional interview. When Mateo turned 3, we noticed some differences in him compared to other children. We didn't get much help from the school, and we went through the worst months. Every day my partner and I would take Mateo to school together, and every day we would come home in tears. Cucurella himself spoke about the impact of the diagnosis. When your child is diagnosed with autism, some people may not be ready to face it. In life, sometimes we have to make decisions about work or living environment. Then we think about Mateo, and the choices we need to make have to be different. The dedication to his son is the reason Cucurella made the shocking decision to leave Chelsea and return to Spain. He wanted to be closer to his family. He wanted to provide stability for Mateo. He wanted to be there for the moments that matter. But even more remarkably, Cucurella announced that the World Cup final could be his last game for Spain. He said, half jokingly and half seriously, "If I win the next match, I'll have both the European Championship and the World Cup. What else is there to strive for in a footballer's life?" Many thought he was joking, but those who knew him understood the real reason. He wanted to spend more time with his family. He wanted to be there for Mateo. He wanted to put family above football. Secret ritual, even more meaningful. The 2026 World Cup final will be remembered for many things. Lamine Yamal's triumph, Messi's heartbreak, the dramatic extra-time winner. But for those who know the truth, it will also be remembered for a hidden ritual, a buried coin, and a 16-year-old tradition that passed from one generation to the next. Marc Cucurella's secret ritual is now part of football folklore. A left back who believed in the power of superstition, who carried the weight of his family's struggles, and who gave everything for his country. The coin is still buried under the turf of MetLife Stadium, a silent witness to history. As Spain celebrates their second World Cup, Cucurella is also celebrating something else. His decision to prioritize family over football. His choice to walk away from the national team to care for his son. It is a decision that few would have the courage to make. Capdevila, the man who started the tradition, watched from the stands with tears in his eyes. The torch had been passed. The magic had worked again, and Spain had won the World Cup. But the question remains, what happens next? Will Cucurella really leave the national team? Will the tradition continue in 2030? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. The story of Marc Cucurella's secret ritual will be told for generations. And the coin buried beneath the MetLife Stadium will remain a symbol of hope, tradition, and the power of belief.